It's our responsibility to show these children some success, to show them some positivity, you know, to show them another way.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm so glad to have y'all back. If you are a first time listener, you are now listening to Rell Talk, the podcast. You can find me on YouTube, raleighrell or Rell Talk. You can find me on Instagram at raleighrell or just hashtag Rell Talk. If you heard the podcast yesterday, then you know I talked about racism in the police force. I'm sure if you're African American, you've dealt with racism in the police force sometime or another. And if you're not from North Carolina, then you wouldn't know about a story that happened a few months ago where a young black male by the name of Akiel Dinkins was gunned down by a Raleigh police officer who said that the young man pulled a gun on him. Before I go any further, I'm going to let y'all hear some news coverage on the actual case, and then I'll let y'all hear his mother, and then I'll come back and I'll touch on why I want to talk about accountability today. Because I don't want to talk about black on black crime because we all know that black on black crime is a result of something. So I want to talk about accountability only in the black community. And by the end of this podcast, hopefully we'll have some solutions.
North Carolina police said Thursday that a white officer fatally shot a black man during a struggle when the man pulled a gun from his waistband and then reached toward the officer's weapon. According to a report, Officer D.C. Twitty had been trying to arrest 24-year-old Akiel Dinkins on Monday when the two got into a struggle. The report adds that Dinkins reached for a handgun in the front of his waistband, leading to the officer firing several shots. Twitty has been placed on administrative leave since the incident. The victim's mom previously told CBS affiliate WNCN that her son was wanted on a warrant and was running from police when he was shot in the back and killed.
Everybody out here said he was running, didn't have a gun, trying to jump a fence, and that officer shot my son 7 times. For what? For nothing.
We tired of it. We tired of it.
For nothing.
Y'all ain't gonna scare us because you kill us off. Y'all ain't gonna scare us.
2 kids.
Ain't gonna work no
Just
more.
turned 24 on the 8th. Not so scared. I feel thinking. And one of these police officers, they gone already. They done left the scene. But my son still live behind that building.
As heartbreaking as that was to hear, I mean, I remember where I was when I heard that breaking news, and all I was thinking was, man, not here. Because you always see that type of thing happening in New York or Chicago or DC or LA, but you never really hear about it happening where you're from. You know what I mean? And so I remember watching it, and when I was watching it, I was actually standing beside a white female. And I'm over there not saying anything because I'm like, I don't even want to get into a back and forth with this lady because you know what I'm saying? Our ideologies are different. Long story short, I get in my car, I listen some more, and I actually go down there. And if you go to my YouTube page, you can see some footage that I shot down there, a little short documentary that I shot down there where you actually get a feel of the energy and the emotions that was going on in that particular area that I'm very, very familiar with. So before I go any further into this podcast, I want to play one more video because you hear his mama said he had 2 kids, young man, gunned down, was running from the police. But I mean, you're going to put it all in context. You don't really want to see things from, you know, your side and not really be able to see things from the other side. So I always want to play devil's advocate and see things from both sides. So this particular clip I'm about to play now is going to tell you about who this young man was, or who the police or who the public saw this young man as. And then we'll go from there. And then we'll really go into depth about this case and when I go back to accountability. Remember that word, accountability, because that's going to mean a lot when I come back from this clip.
If you look online, you'll see that Akiel Dinkins had a lot of arrests in the past 5 years. He was put in handcuffs 16 times on at least 26 charges since 2011. Those charges included assaults on females, resisting officers, carrying a concealed gun, and possession with intent to sell and distribute cocaine. But in those 5 years, and out of all those charges, he was convicted on just 9. And although many of the charges started out as felonies, the convictions are all misdemeanors. A search of records shows Dinkins didn't come to court in early February to face a cocaine distribution charge. And it was a warrant for that failure to appear that led to the encounter in which he was shot and killed by a Raleigh police officer. But Denkin's criminal record isn't part of the probe of the police officer's actions being conducted by the SBI and Wake County's elected district attorney. And the DA knows how her investigation is handled could be the difference between peace and violence.
I don't really got to go into what the DA is going to say because you know she's going to say things that's going to be politically correct. So I'll tell y'all my take. You know, I've sat back, I've sat on this, and I've let this thing marinate for the last month or two. And I've really come to the conclusion, you know, I've talked with my brothers, I've talked to some peers of mine, and I've just come to the conclusion that when I talk about accountability, I think it's so sad that this young man lost his life. I think it's so sad that this young man had 2 kids that no longer have a father. I think it's so sad that this young man's mother and father had to bury their son. I think it's just it's heartbreaking, right? But when I talk about accountability, here's what I'm talking about. Now, if you watch the footage, okay, and I'm talking about anywhere in America of a young black male being gunned down, if you watch the footage, you'll see pastors, you will see relatives, you'll see people crying, saying, I can't believe he gone. I can't believe, you know, this happened to him. Why him? Why him? Why him? Why him? Here's my thing. If we know we're already dealing with a racist, corrupt police force and a racist, corrupt system, why do we constantly put ourselves in a position where they can come and harm us? And I'm not talking about black on black crime, so don't even go there with me. Here's what I'm talking about. Hear me out. Somebody needs to start convincing these young brothers in these communities that if you have a warrant, you need to turn yourself in. Okay? Because notice what they said. The officer was just in the neighborhood patrolling. He recognized Akiel Dinkins and pursued him because he had a warrant. He had a warrant. Okay, we have to create, and I'm talking about solutions here. We have to create programs in our community, safe havens in our community, where when these young brothers and sisters commit these crimes, they need to know that if you run, they're going to find you. You know, warrants are not like credit reports. They don't go away in 7 years. Okay, if you have a warrant, it's going to stick with you. And from what I'm told, the longer it takes for them to catch you, the worse it is. The worse it is. And it just doesn't make any sense. We're so reactive in the black community, meaning we're always reacting to something. Things have to happen for us to react to it first. Now, let's be clear. Again, if somebody listen to this and they know this family, please understand I'm not bashing them because I'm a young man myself, and I understand what it's like being a young black male in today's society. But how different would this thing have turned out if his mother would have said, son, you have a warrant, you need to turn yourself in, okay? Because you don't know what's going to happen when they come kick my door in. And, you know, you have a baby that you're holding. And you already have criminal charges or a criminal record of having a gun, having a concealed weapon. So they already think that you're violent. So every day you run the risk of them kicking your mama door down and shooting everybody just to get to you. And that's irresponsible on everybody's part. We allow our young black males to walk around in our communities every single day. And I say neighborhoods, not communities. Every single day, we allow them to walk around. We know they got warrants. I've actually heard people say to me, I got a warrant, but I'm going to turn myself in, you know, in the wintertime when it gets cold because I don't want to be in jail in the summertime. Like, I've heard that. Right? So if people know what they have to do, they just don't know when to do it. We have to have some good brothers in the community that can convince these young people, if you have a warrant, turn yourself in. Okay? Do the time. You have to do the time. By that way, when you get out, you're not worried about somebody chasing you down at random while you're holding your son, or chasing you down at random when you chilling on the porch with your girlfriend. You don't have to worry about those things because you took care of your business already. You see what I'm talking about? Accountability. Taking care of your business. And that's what we're not doing in our communities. We're not taking care of our business. We're allowing our youth to walk around with these warrants, and we're not convincing them to turn themselves in. And then when the police come and kick the door in and do whatever they want to do, because you understand something. When you are a felon, when you have a warrant, you have no rights. Okay? You have no rights. when you're a felon and when you have warrants. They don't care about your rights because in the state of North Carolina, we have what's called a fleeing felon law. And a lot of other states have this. But if you are a felon and you have a warrant and they see you and they pursue you, they have every right to use deadly force because they don't want you to run in somebody else's house and take them hostage. They don't want you to run into a playground and if the officer shoots at you, he hits a stray kid. They want to make sure they take you down as quickly as possible because you may be a threat to the people around you. And can I say I really blame them? I don't want some fool running through my son's school, running from police and, have the ability to take somebody hostage because they chased this knucklehead for 3 miles. And that's me speaking as a father. So let this be a lesson. White, black, I don't care. Let this be a lesson. If you have children, nephews, nieces, cousins, brothers, whatever, who have warrants, convince them to turn themselves in because it's only going to get worse for them. So for my people, if you're listening to this right now, there are ways to contact me, but I envision starting a program where we have good brothers in our community who can convince these young brothers and sisters to turn themselves in if they have warrants. Whatever reason why they don't want to turn themselves in, we have to convince them to turn themselves in. We'll take them down there. Turn themselves in. That's what we do. When they do their time and they get out, we'll be there to pick them up. We're going to help them get their lives back in order so they no longer have to deal with the police harassing them. And if you do this enough, here's what's going to happen. If you do this enough, eventually cops will have no reason at all to patrol your neighborhoods. Because that's what they're doing. They're riding through our neighborhoods because they know I may see somebody that I've arrested a couple times that has a warrant. I'm just going to take them in. But if nobody has a warrant in that area, they won't ride through there. And you can live peacefully amongst each other and I have to worry about police officers patrolling your areas and harassing you. I have lived in areas where I never see the police. Literally, I never see the police ever, unless I'm on a main highway. But I've lived in areas where I never see the police. We got to be smarter and we got to be accountable. That means our older people got to be held accountable for not allowing or for allowing our young people to put themselves in positions where they can't succeed. And then when it all goes down, like this particular instance right here, we're on TV crying about how could we, how could they, why would they? My question is, how could you? How could we as a community? I'm telling you right now, I have relatives who I know have been in trouble with the law. And from this moment on, when I see them, if they care to share it with me, I'm going to tell them, hey, turn yourself in, man, because you see what can happen if you don't. We playing too many games out here. We playing too many games out here with people who ain't playing with us. And this is to us. This is to black people. They not playing games with us, okay? They not. And if you think they are, you got another thing coming. We got to be smarter and we got to be better. We out here playing checkers and they playing chess on us. They ride through our neighborhoods. Some of these young brothers have been arrested so many times where they recognize these cats by face. They recognize these cats by the back of their head. Ain't no excuse for that. There ain't no excuse for that. We got to do better than that. We're going to have to do better than that or we're going to keep dropping like flies. Our young kids, our young babies are going to continue to grow up without a father in their life, and they're going to repeat that same exact cycle. This young brother had 2 kids who no longer have a father. That's sad within itself. And if they grow up and if they smart like I know they will be, they're going to wonder, why did the community allow my father to become such a nuisance to where the police wanted to kill him, to take him out? They're going to wonder why the community allowed him to get to that point, why somebody didn't say, hey, look, I'm sending you to military school or I'm sending you here because clearly you've gotten out of hand. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. It's for the betterment of the community. It's for the betterment of you. I'll say this and I'll end it on this note. we are too smart of a people to keep allowing people to make decisions for us. Every day, young black males and females are in a courthouse looking at judges and attorneys that don't look like them and don't give a damn how their life turns out. We're going to have to put ourselves in position where we make decisions for our lives and not have them make decisions for our lives, because that's what we're doing. People are telling us when to come in the house, probation. Where you can go, probation. Where you can work, probation. And then you're paying them to monitor you. I mean, it's a cycle. It is a cycle. And until we get it together, we're going to continue to go through this constant whirlwind of just destruction in our community. And that's what it is. It's destruction. You don't got to admit it. You don't got to accept it, but it's there. It's right at your front door. And one day it's going to be your son, your niece, your nephew in a position where if only you had stepped up and said, I'm going to help you out of the situation, they wouldn't be in that situation. Or we got to stop looking the other way. Okay? These are our children. Okay? My neighbor's kids are my kids. My kids are my neighbor's kids. All right? I want y'all to know, if you want to find me on social media, Rell in Google. Rell Talk, YouTube. Rell, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Find me. Let's talk. Let's dialogue. All right? Shoot me an email. Whatever. I'm accessible. All right? I want to help us fix us. Because we all we got. Ain't nobody going to save us. Nobody. So, let's do this, man. Next episode, I want to touch on maybe relationships or something. Just let me know in the comment section, you know, what y'all want to hear. But as I said before, I'm 100% for my people. And that ain't going to change anytime soon.
Blowing the wind, trying to see him blowing the wind.